All right.
So, first, Minecraft survival games.
As of late 2022, Minecraft has sold more copies than any video game in the history of the medium, with 238 million credited sales. For reference, that's almost identical to the total population of the planet's fifth most populous country, Pakistan. Minecraft's meteoric rise in the early 2010s was almost synonymous with the YouTube gaming sphere, with multiple Minecraft YouTubers carving out a place for themselves on the platform with what was essentially exclusively Minecraft content. You know the ones. Captain Sparkles, Ant Venom, the entire Yogscast crew. Minecraft's ability to be modified and warped allowed countless creators to play the game almost endlessly for the better part of 5 to 7 years without the game getting really all too stale. Different games, like parkour maps or player versus player arenas, began popping up as the game rose in popularity, which afforded the unique opportunity of allowing players to compete at this game. These game modes got playtime, sure, and the occasional video to boot, but there was an explosion on the horizon. Minecraft needed a flagship player versus player game mode. One that could, set the entire framework for the most popular genre of multiplayer games in the modern day. So, picture this. The year is 2012. Completely unrelated, by the way, but hey, are you guys excited for this new Hunger Games movie that's about to come out? I've actually read all the books already, so I know how it ends. But it would be so cool if there was like an actual player versus player Hunger Games video game. You know, play out and pretend like you're actually in the games without the whole dying in real life thing. Man, that would be so cool. Oh, hello 12 of the biggest YouTubers in the Minecraft sphere. What are you guys up to? You're gonna play this new Minecraft game mode that's just like the Hunger Games and produce it for YouTube? Surely this is a one-off thing that won't be popular. It was incredibly popular, you say. An entire genre of video games is about to be created as a butterfly effect of this one event? Okay. Wow. The Minecraft survival games was born on one fateful day in April, as 12 creators got together in an event hosted by the late, not-so-great Machinima on a map made by map maker Variede. The series was extremely popular and spurred 6 more installments, not including spin-offs, of YouTubers going at it, debuting fresh maps that would later be released to public play. Today, I'm going to be going over all 7 in depth, determining who the GOAT of the Minecraft survival games is, and identifying all the stars, the individual performances, and providing a retrospective on the Minecraft survival games. Before we get into the matches themselves, we need to set some ground rules for this whole thing. I'm only counting events that happen specifically on maps in the SG series, so SG 1 through 7, all of which were specifically made by Variede and his team. I'm also including Breeze Island's event in this, because SG 7 specifically never had an event hosted, and Breeze Island, which was made by Variede, is essentially an honorary SG 8. Additionally, if we really want to assign statistical values to these games, we need to figure out how to do so. What we'll do is assign each player that has ever played in one of these events a number that represents their rating in the games. How do we do that, you ask? Well, we could give each person that wins a set amount of points and cascade that number downward for each decreasing position. Only problem is, games often have completely different amounts of people participating, so values would be inconsistent. So to give each person a position value equal to the place they finished on an even playing field, we need to get a little more creative. Here's what I came up with. First place always gets 50 points, and last place always gets 0. Because no, I am not giving you points just for showing up. We divide the total of 50 from the amount of players, minus 1, and subtract that number from 50, then the following number, until each position has a score equal to the value of that position. To give you an idea of the weight of this, finishing second in a field of 23 is going to be more valuable than finishing second in a field of 12, because naturally that would be a more impressive accomplishment. So for a field of 12, here's what the values for each position would look like. Additionally, we need to reward kills. What we could do is give, say, 10 points for every kill, But that could be unfair to lower person lobbies, as they don't have as many point opportunities, which is not what we want. Therefore, kills are valued based on the percentage of the lobby killed, rather than the raw amount of kills. Each match, there are 200 points up for grabs in the kill department. Each player is worth the exact same amount of points, divided equally among the 200. For example, in a 12-player lobby, each kill is worth 16.67 points. So say you win a match in a 12-player lobby, and you rack up 3 total kills in doing so. Your win is worth 50 points, and you get another 16.67 for every kill, which brings up to 50 for kills, leaving you with 100 points total. And voila! We now have a formula to develop a leaderboard ranking all 62 players to have ever competed in one of the Minecraft survival games. Welcome to the original survival games. Like I mentioned before, huge event. Minecraft creators really haven't collaborated on this scale to this point, and 12 of them playing in the same event? Yeah, we're in for a treat. Let's meet the roster for this inaugural running of the survival games. Oh yeah, we've got some names. We've got stalwarts of the Minecraft YouTube sphere like Captain Sparkles, Chimney Swift, and Pulsewars Jr., and rising stars such as Ant Venom. These 12 truly were the bastions of early 2010s Minecraft. Now quick, pick your favorite, because one of these creators is going to be the winner of this event. Let's take a peek at the map for today's event. As you can see, SG1 consists of a very forested area, surrounded by water on most sides. A peninsula, if you will. This map also features multiple islands, some of which are connected to the main peninsula by bridges, and some not. An additional theme of this map is the crumbling infrastructure, as every non-natural object on the map is in disrepair. Here's the middle, where everyone spawns, a place that is commonly referred to as the cornucopia. Players are immediately tempted with a choice: go to the middle of the map, abound with chests full of things that could give them a massive advantage out of the gate at the risk of coming into contact with many players, or run away and be at a disadvantage, but guarantee survival. From there, players then most likely spread out into the forested surroundings, quickly reaching the water or a bridge to another island. A perfect stage for an event that will be extremely defining for this new game mode. Why, you ask? Because it has to be. Let's get into the game itself. Now, I'm going to show you something. This is a graph of the length of every single Minecraft survival games event. As you'll notice, SG1 was the longest lasting of any of the events, clocking in at 50 minutes and 36 seconds. This should come as a surprise because, as you may remember, we only have 12 participants today. For those keeping track at home, this is the lowest number of participants in any of these events, with every event after having at least 14. So if you're thinking, we're in for a long match with drawn-out fights and small bursts of increased action, you'd be dead right, and that's exactly what we have in store. In fact, let's take a look at how long of the 50 total minutes it took for the game's first 2 kills to occur. Despite the general lack of combat, our field is reduced to 10 in just 20 seconds of the match. Seamus, our first victim, is caught up by Syndicate, who picks up a stone sword from the chest in the middle and uses it to open our event with an instant kill. Syndicate then proceeds to rush Ant Venom, who had also managed to nab a stone sword, and despite trading blows, Ant Venom's ability to strafe Syndicate's swings allowed him to scoop up the immediate trade, knocking 2 of our 12 players out of the match just 20 seconds in. Our next action is 6 minutes and 38 seconds in, where Captain Sparkles catches Lucklin off guard, forcing Lucklin into the water to flee, before catching up and eventually slaying him, taking advantage of Lucklin needing to resurface from underwater due to taking drowning damage. 8 minutes and 37 seconds in, Captain Sparkles finds his next victim, poor Ihaz Cupquake, who wanders into a cave, faces a wall, and accepts fate. Thanks for organizing the event, Tiff. 8 players remain. Almost 11 minutes into the event, we get a slightly interesting twist. Captain Sparkles calls out to Sea Nanners, inquiring about a possible truce between the two. Unfortunately for both parties, there appears to be a miscommunication here. Captain references the fact that the two had talked about being under truce and asked if it was still the case. When Sea Nanners, tag Adam Montoya, begins to approach Captain Sparkles, Captain runs away, under the impression that Sea Nanners was going to try to kill him, despite the lack of weaponry in Sea Nanners' hand. Sea Nanners never types anything in chat, so his motive is ultimately unclear, but the two go their separate ways, and Sea Nanners meets his fate soon after at the hands of who other than Ant Venom, who wanders upon sea and catches him off guard, bringing us to 7 remaining. Soon after that, Captain Sparkles tracks down Chimney Swift, who in a bout of deja vu for our captain, walks into a cave unsuspecting and meets the captain's blade. No resistance, 6 remain. You may at this point be noticing a theme. Of the 6 kills to have occurred at this point, 5 of them have been done at the hands of just 2 people, Ant Venom and Captain Sparkles. I want you to keep an eye on these 2, because we're at the very beginning of a story of 2 of the survival game's most famous actors. Captain Sparkles, arguably the Minecraft YouTuber, only a few months removed from what some could say was the video that opened the floodgates for the Minecraft parody wave. Revenge. And Ant Venom, an oncoming face in the Minecraft gaming sphere whose Ant Farm Survival and Hunt for the Golden Apple series would become faces of the Minecraft live commentary sect of YouTube. Without these 2, the Minecraft survival game simply wouldn't be what it became. I know we're halfway into only our first survival games here, but we may have just legitimately found our LeBron and our, well, Jordan. Before we hop back into the game, we need to discuss one crucial part of these games that will not be a part of any other survival games event following it, or at least not to the extent that it is here. Due to the infancy of this game mode, players who died had an impact on this game like none would after. Simply put, people didn't really know the rules or what they were or weren't allowed to do. Spectating players had the ability to spawn monsters in, give items, and really just choose a player to sponsor. In the Hunger Games books, sponsors are people or companies that pay for helpful items to be dropped to players in need. In the books, things such as burn ointment are sent to players via sponsorships. In the Minecraft survival games, however, the most common sponsorship donation is literally anything under the sun. Dead players begin by drip feeding the remaining players food, some minor gear upgrades, and experience for enchanting later. However, they also spawn in hundreds of monsters, which directly impacts players' decisions as they attempt to avoid monsters that could easily kill them. This, suffice to say, negatively impacts the game, as multiple players show clear frustration at the amount of monsters. Anyway, you now understand the context for these sponsorships, and you will see how it impacts the upcoming fights. Our next kill comes from Paul Source Jr., who is able to get Minecraft VG on the ropes from some nice bow shots. 5 remain. Around this point, a sponsor is generous enough to gift Slyfoxhound with, yep, you guessed it, full diamond armor and weapons. Everyone else in this game at this point has, at best, some iron armor, if that. This is an advantage that should not be understated, as it allows Sly to take and deal more damage than anyone else in the game by a considerable margin. Sly, almost immediately, finds his first victim, knocking an unsuspecting Minecraft chick out of the game in 2 succinct blows. We are down to 4. At this point, Slyfoxhound has an immense advantage. Since his kill, the sponsors have begun to gear up some of the other players, but only Ant Venom is really close in that department. As you can see, Ant could conceivably take Sly down, but the other 2 would need immense help. Also, poor Paul. If Sly can keep his momentum, we might just have our first winner here. Wait. Oh no. Don't walk into that lava, Sly. Well, it's okay, I guess. You made it to water. You're low on hearts, though, and you need food. Wait, you don't have any? Well, I guess we need to go get some. As long as you get a second to breathe here, you should be fine. Oh, Ant Venom is here. Well, GG. A perfect storm. And then there were 3. Ant Venom, Captain Sparkles, and Paul Source Jr. The kill into Sly stacks up Ant with full diamond, and sponsors soon match that with the other 2 remaining. Players continue to wander around until our helpful little sponsors lead Ant Venom and Paul Source Jr. right to each other. On even playing field, we get one of the best fights yet. Our battlefield is marred by water, and the 2 trade blows bouncing in between the chaos created by our lovely spectating friends. Both players are low, but as Paul goes for a golden apple, Ant keeps swinging. This proves to be the difference, as we are left with, well, who else? It's all come down to this. Sponsors lead the two to each other, and we have our moment. Captain Sparkles attempts to jump down from a cliff that he's on, only for disaster to strike. A perfect bow shot from Ant Venom lands, knocking the captain back into a pool of lava. The two cross blades, but with the added damage from the lava, Captain Sparkles is already at half health. The fire continues to burn, and as Captain Sparkles realizes the peril that he finds himself in, he tries to briefly retreat. Only problem is, he's on fire. In Minecraft, taking damage prevents jumping in a really odd way. As Jordan attempts to scale blocks and flee, he can't. Fire damage prevents him from doing so. Taking advantage, Ant Venom comes up from behind, and we have our first winner. Out of every possible kill in our first event, Ant Venom accounted for nearly half of them. Captain Sparkles had a solid game, no doubt, matching the rest of the lobby combined sans Ant Venom. But with an 133.33 point performance, Ant Venom rushes off to a phenomenal lead in our Minecraft survival games race. Considering the success of the first event, it seemed like a no-brainer to make a sequel. Our good friend Variede has cooked up a truly stunning, fresh new map, and we have a fresh cast of participants in our event. Let's see what we got at hand for our field today. Alright, mostly the same crew, though we had Justra, Immortal HD, and Gassy Mexican at the cost of Minecraft Chick. Our field being mostly returning players brings with us experience, which is no doubt going to dictate today's match as people build upon the game they put up in the inaugural event. I mentioned our map was stunning, so let's look at it. Variety, you have outdone yourself. Survival Games 2 takes place in the remnants of a fallen city, crumbling to the sands of time. You have abandoned and collapsing buildings, while nature tries its best to reclaim the city. While the actual area of the map is smaller than SG-1, the map itself feels much bigger, which is caused by the towering buildings with seemingly endless amounts of floors. Players spawn in a park in the middle of the city, and upon leaving make their way down abandoned streets into the remains of a city's multiple districts, including business, industrial, government, and residential. Out of all the maps made by Variety and his team, I like to think this one is their magnum opus. The cornucopia on today's map is also unique, specifically in the fact that it takes extra steps to get there, and acts almost as a pit. Players have the choice of breaking leaves or climbing the vines to enter the center, but once they're in, it is extremely easy to become pinned against one of the walls inside and trapped, causing the possibility of immediate elimination. Additionally, there are only 4 chests in the middle, and although the items in them are definitely worth getting, the risk of rushing middle to not only not get anything, but also die is extremely notable in how the game plays out. As the game nears its start, multiple players complain about their food bars not being full, which most likely means that players have been sitting around for a while waiting for the game to begin. Rather than solving this issue immediately, there appears to be a miscommunication between the event organizers. The countdown clock starts, and multiple players are caught off guard by it. Panicked, people either are stalled in their starting blocks or immediately turn tail and run away. Not a single person even makes an attempt to go towards the cornucopia. That is, of course, except for one person. Whether it was due to the lucky circumstances of this game or not, our defending champion finds himself all alone in the middle, uncontested, and picks away at the chests. A key notable detail about this map is that due to the amount of floors, buildings, and overall hidden areas, chests are extremely sparse. Hell, the middle area only has 4. People are going to struggle with food throughout this entire match, which is a detail that makes the mismanagement of the food by the admins at the start that much more important. Admins are going to try to go around and give people the food necessary to make everything fair, but it still cripples a handful of players. In addition to food, gear is sparse. Only one player in this entire match is at any point ever going to assemble an entire set of armor, regardless of how strong said armor actually is. That player is, naturally, Ant Venom, who does so just seconds into the game using the gear found in the middle chests. He manages to get a diamond helmet, an enchanted golden apple, as well as arguably his most important find, a stone sword pre-equipped with Fire Aspect 1. Be it the circumstances of the specific start, or people's general fear to not repeat last match's performance and survive for much longer, Ant Venom finds himself at an immense advantage a mere 40 seconds in to SG2. Considering how outfitted our defending champion is, and how sparse loot is on this map, I want to give everyone a heads up on the outcome of this event. We've already put one match behind us, and we have many more to come, but Ant Venom is about to do the unthinkable. The targets are on his back. The element of surprise that he had before is gone. When players think of threats in this game, he is the one on the forefront of their minds. With all that weight on him, it would be considerable to expect regression in this match, regardless of his apparent advantage. This is especially true when you consider the fact that multiple players have made teams for this event to try to advance to the end, with players such as Sly Foxhound and Sea Nanners teaming up in groups of 2 or 3. But even with all that considered, Ant Venom is about to do the Minecraft survival game's equivalent of the Wilt Chamberlain 100-point game. Ant Venom makes his way out from spawn, and the game's issues continue. Ant Venom immediately attacks Sea Nanners, who has unfortunately disconnected from the game, an issue that Ant Venom is unaware of. Sea Nanners' teammate, Justra, attempts to step in to defend Sea Nanners, but considering that he has absolutely zero gear, he stands no chance and immediately gets put down. As soon as Sea Nanners reconnects, he's dead. Extremely unlucky start for these two, as their game is immediately over, completely out of their hands. 12 remain. Our next victim also experiences an extremely unfortunate fate. Gassy Mexican, who had complained continuously about his lack of food before the game started, continued to do so as the game continued. Very early into the game, he appears to have completely run out of hunger, which is an extremely unfortunate turn of events. Finally, the admins decide to make right and give Gassy Mexican some food. Only, right as they're doing so, who other than Ant Venom comes right up on Gassy and puts him down. 11 left, and all 3 gone have been slain due to unlucky circumstances within this game. At this point, I think most players would have been okay with restarting, but they don't. Ant Venom multiple times vouches for players to be respawned that he killed, feeling bad for the circumstances that led him to get the first 3 kills, which really is unfortunate. This game is going to go on to be one of the best performances by any player in the history of the survival games, and it's always going to feel like there's an asterisk next to it. Additionally, for some odd reason, the chat doesn't announce when people die, which gives us a very rough timeline for how things go down. We're depending on wikis and the few player point of views that we have to figure out how things are going to go. The next kill belongs to Minecraft VG, who gets into a brawl with IHS Cupquake and manages to put her down, a fight which we can barely see from the perspective of Pulsource Jr., who walks in on the aftermath of the fight and immediately avenges Cupquake's death. 9 remaining. Next up on the chopping block is Chimney Swift, who walks into Syndicate's building and meets his fate. Despite the two trading even blows initially, Chimney tries to flee, which ultimately leads to his downfall. 8 left. Out of the remaining 8, 7 will die. Of those 7 to die, 2 will succumb to natural causes, and 5 will be killed. 5 will be killed. And the remaining 8 is a team of 3, which is notable at this point because the team comprises nearly half of the lobby. Regardless of gear, this is a massive advantage, and if the cards are played right, the 3 could easily be top 3 in this event. Here's their first test. Ant Venom stumbles upon the 3. He definitely has them outgeared, but there's power in numbers. However, there's also power in intimidation. Ask yourself, which is more powerful? We're going to get a resounding answer in this fight. Ant Venom goes in, and the 3 realize immediately how much of a threat he is. Ant Venom jumps Sly Foxhound, who tries to run while the other 2 back him up. Ant takes a little damage, but turns to Immortal HD, who had no armor and is therefore completely defenseless, meeting his end at the end of Ant Venom's Fire Aspect sword. At this point, Seamus books it, and so does Sly, and they do so in opposite directions. Ant was half health, but with both players low, Intimidation wins decisively. This is undoubtedly the first time in cinematic history where we learn about the power of intimidation over numbers at the hands of some ant. Nope. Definitely hasn't happened before. Anyway, the retreat by this team doesn't last forever. No longer having the numbers that made the fight even, Ant Venom tracks down Sly Foxhound and knocks the amount of players down to 6, and the once mighty team is down to just Seamus. With every passing kill, Ant Venom repeating his chant begins to look all the more likely. His chances only continue to grow as Syndicate fails to notice a creeper that blends in with his texture pack, and it blows him to Kingdom Come. 10 hearts to 0, instantly. 5 left. Hey, let's check in on how last event's runner-up is doing. Oh. Interesting predicament we find ourselves in here. Captain Sparkles, with 0 food to his name and an ever-dwindling hunger bar, has made his way all the way to the top of one of the map's many skyscrapers and absolutely marooned himself with no way to get down.
How does our captain solve this problem and prevent his fate from being decided at the hands of the planet's gravitational pull? Well, it's quite simple, actually.
He kills himself. 4 left. While Captain Sparkles was trying his best to escape the clutches of Sir Isaac Newton's most dastardly invention, we get a pretty funny preview of the next kill to occur, and arguably the reason why Captain Sparkles killed himself. Seeing Ant Venom chasing Seamus towards Captain Sparkles' building makes Captain panic and try to speed up his descent. So maybe, just maybe, you could argue that Ant Venom deserves another kill added to his total. I'm not going to make that argument, but you could. Ant inevitably catches up with Seamus and puts him down, leaving us with our final 3. Ant Venom, Pulsars Jr., and Lucklin. Though it hasn't been talked about up to this point, Pulsars Jr. has sneakily made his way into the top 3 of his second straight event. Paul has an opportunity to not only win the second games, but even if he loses, make a solid run at being our GOAT of the games. Unfortunately, however, SG2 is the last time we get to see Pulsars Jr. And although moderators put good gear in the middle of the map to entice the final 3 to fight, and Paul collects it, which gives him the best gear amongst the final 3, Ant Venom catches him off guard and gets the first few strikes off, leaving Ant Venom with just Lucklin remaining. Lucklin almost immediately is there, meaning Ant Venom starts the fight with a health disadvantage, and I'd like to think if Lucklin manages to fight a little bit better, he stands a legitimate shot. Lucklin tries to close in to use a potion of damaging, but it doesn't connect, and even damages Lucklin a little. He then has an opportunity to equip the majority of Paul's gear, which he picks up, but as Ant Venom closes in, he's unable to do so. As Ant tries to close in to deal the final blow, Lucklin attempts to eat an enchanted golden apple, which could easily have turned the tides of the fight, but likely the frame before the apple would have become effective, Ant Venom deals the blow, ending the game with 8 kills and a victory. In a lobby of 14 people, Ant Venom got a whopping 61% of the possible kill share, a number that will never be recreated again in the Minecraft survival games. As you can see, in the 2 games played thus far, Ant Venom has dwarfed the field. We are just 2 matches in, but we have quite the question at hand. Will anyone ever catch Ant Venom? We are back for round 3, ladies and gentlemen. Extra, read all about it. With a fresh new event comes a fresh crew of participants, which you can see here. Again, lots of familiar faces, but also some new ones. Welcome to the fray, Skitscape and Caveman Films, as well as Wold 21 and Utorak. No doubt, we've added some competitors. Let's check out today's map, shall we? Wow, we got a big one. There obviously isn't as much going on in today's map as there was in SG2, but it makes up for that by being the biggest map ever produced by Variede and his team. A mountain in the map's center towers over the surrounding hills and forests, as players spawn in the center of the mountain and are able to make their way through caves to the rest of the map. Buildings are sparse on today's map, as they were in SG1, but they do exist. Cliffs, caverns, and jungle biomes, which had just been added earlier this year if you want to feel old, make SG3 what it is. Now, teams were a somewhat relevant part of SG2. However, they're everything in SG3. SG3 wasn't by any means a team event, but by the way impactful moments in the game play out, it almost feels like it was. As you can see, half of the lobby has decided to squad up for the games. And before you say anything, I know what you're thinking. Really, Galaxy? The 2-time defending champion is teaming up? And he has the biggest team in the lobby? Are we really about to watch this one team of 3 pound this entire game? Well, I mean, don't be too rash here. We gotta remember, this is Skitscape and Caveman Films' first bout of the survival games. They are brand new to this. These other players, they have experience. Also, we had a team of 3 last game, and they got single-handedly demolished by a player that had outgeared them. So if you really think that this team of 3 is going to dance their way to victory, let me tell you something, pal. You're dead right. This team, known formally as the Ninjas in Lemon Trousers, is fresh off of an experience on the Nox Crew Game Show, a series made by now Minecraft Championship hosts Nox Crew, if you couldn't infer from the name. So they've gelled a bit, they're all good friends, and for Christ's sake have a team name. This isn't your mother's Team Under Bridge in the Hive lobby. Before us, we have 3 of the survival game's GOAT contenders, teamed up and ready to lay absolute pipe on this poor group of YouTubers. The game begins, unique from our past events, in that there's a grace period. For 70 seconds, no one can attack each other, which essentially removes the main reason why people avoid rushing the cornucopia. Therefore, everyone sans say 2 people runs in and tries to get their pick of the litter. So unlike last event, a good handful of people have at least decent gear out of the gate. Unfortunately, almost immediately, Minecraft VG crashes. He's out. This is a recurring issue at this point, as the games as we know them right now are the second attempt at this. The first one, like 4 players crashed and spectating was broken. Early 2010s Minecraft, am I right? Anyway, no luck for Paperbat this time, as this is his last ever appearance in the Minecraft survival games, and it's a goose egg. 0 points. Justra is the next to die, falling to his death and ending his second and final appearance in the Minecraft survival games with 3.85 points to his name. In total, he has amassed 7.7 points, in both average and total points. Out of 62 participants in the Minecraft survival games, Justra finishes 62nd. Someone had to be last, I guess, but still, considering his circumstances, he really never had a chance. Next up is Minecraft Chick, who gets killed by a skeleton. Jeez, what are these games so far? Is anyone actually going to kill another player? Anywho, Minecraft Chick also bows out of the Minecraft survival games with SG3 as her final event, at the hands of a mob, and we are left with 11 remaining. Finally, action! Our unstoppable behemoth of a team has spotted another team and begin their hunt. It's Gassy Mexican and Utorak, and if the 2 of them could so much as pick off one of the ninjas in lemon trousers, we might have a game yet. Besides, 2v3 isn't that bad of odds. You want to know what's even better odds for the duo? Skitscape goes into a tight cave completely alone and decides to take them on with 0 backup. Fight result? Skitscape manhandles them both and brings our player total to 9 with very little resistance. Wow. Okay, all hands on deck. There's immediately only one other team remaining. If anyone wants a chance at winning these games, we need to hope that Wolf and Luckland can knock out a player or 2, or hell, even win the fight despite the numbers advantage. The worst possible outcome would be the 2 of them immediately getting into a fight with the 3 Horsemen of Death, which is exactly what happens. Ant Venom gets the jump on Luckland, except not really, as he almost fails to damage Luck at all, and gets bounced out of the fight by Wolf. Though Caveman Films and Skitscape are able to finish what Ant Venom started and knock Luckland dead, Wolf focuses in on Ant Venom. Slow to react, Wolf has Ant Venom on the ropes. Is this it? Is the 3-peat dead? Is this the unstoppable killing machine feeling fear? Regardless of what it is he feels, Skitscape swoops in and saves Ant Venom's life, and the only other team in the game is eliminated. 11 minutes and 17 seconds into our 3rd Minecraft survival games, and it's the first moment where we think Ant Venom might just be mortal. The next player to get thrown to the jaws of death is Syndicate, who, while minding his own business, is jumped and promptly slaughtered, being peacefully alive and blissfully unaware of his death just moments before it took place. In his last survival games, he never really stood a chance. For so many players, Survival Games 3 is the last chance at glory and making an impact on our leaderboard. 5 players will never play again after today, and 4 are already dead. If going out in a blaze of glory was the storybook ending that these 5 looked for, that dream is dead. Instead, they will go out in a whimper. Also never to be seen again after this point is Machinima, as this is the last of the games that they would host. Advancements in YouTube's revenue sharing system meant that players were flocking from Machinima's clutches, leaving the company to scrape and claw for whatever they could get. They would manage to live as a shell of themselves after horror stories from the company caused an exodus of talent, but they would eventually go defunct. As many creators would later do, the survival games would leave Machinima where it belongs, in the past. At this point in the games, 6 players remain. Out of those 6, 3 are on a team. Conceivably, if the 3 of these players can work out temporary alliance of sorts, we might still have a game at hand. Captain Sparkles is still alive, and we know he's always a contender. Considering who he is, he's definitely due for a win coming up here. However, it'd have to be a miracle to happen this game. Ah, look, Immortal found him. Maybe they can work out a deal or not. Sorry, Captain. Maybe in SG4 you'll get your shot. I really do wish at this point we could say, thank God, the game's issues are done and we won't have a crash or anything of that sort in the survival games anymore. But we can't have nice things. IHS Cupquake, who thus far is putting up a pretty solid game despite not having any kills, crashes. There are 4 left, and 3 of them are on a team. The team that shall not be named. The conclusion of this game seems obvious. It's just about which of the 3 is going to be named victor. Will it be Skitscape, whose 3 kills to this point leads all players, marking him as a serious contender for the survival game's crown? Will it be Caveman Films, who has had a solid inaugural outing himself, notching a pair of kills, kicking off his long and illustrious Minecraft survival games career? Or will it be Ant Venom, with the opportunity to secure his 3rd consecutive survival games victory and cement his status in the Minecraft survival games Hall of Fame? Immortal HD, the last non-team member remaining, is summoned to the middle. But in the meantime, chants to break up the team are coming from the dead spectators. Our friends here wait a second longer, but they are good sports. So they agree to whittle the team down to 1 and give Immortal a fair one-on-one fight for the crown. Only problem is, how do you fight as 3? The team actually discusses this at an earlier point in the match, inferring that it probably would be them in the final 3, considering how powerful that they were. Ant Venom mentions that he figures he would get targeted by the other 2, which both players reassure him they won't. However, I think almost because of this conversation when the fighting begins, Skitscape and Caveman Films go at each other, while Ant Venom kind of just watches from a distance. Skitscape takes absolutely 0 damage from Caveman Films while finishing him off, making the fight between Ant Venom and Skitscape fairly even. Unfortunately, as even as the fight may have been on paper, it really does not play out that way. Ant Venom is able to maneuver himself into Skitscape's blind spot, which mixed with a flurry of blows from Ant Venom's sharpness sword, makes Skitscape no match for our defending champion. Ant Venom is 1 kill away from winning his 3rd consecutive event. Mathematically, Immortal has a chance at winning this event yet. As you may remember, this is his final bout of the survival games. Everyone wants to go out in a blaze of glory, and no one wants to go out at the hands of Ant Venom's sharpness iron sword. But the thing is, iron swords don't care about what you think, and the fight isn't even close. Like I said, the game was utter domination. Only 1 kill in this entire game was by anyone outside of the ninjas in lemon trousers. And Ant Venom is the champion of the survival games for the 3rd time in a row. The 3-peat is complete. Because of his successes, Ant Venom is going to sit out of the 4th survival games. We will have a new champion. But remember this stretch, placed in lobbies with other people that play Minecraft for a living, Ant Venom proved that he was the best against all odds every single time. And don't you worry, Ant Venom will be back. This break isn't forever. He's simply giving other players a chance. I think you could say with the coming of Survival Games 4 that we've entered a new era of the Minecraft survival games as we know them. SG4 is a very unique map from the previous three, being far more open and much smaller, incentivizing fighting throughout the course of the game. A design choice that means that even in the modern day, SG4 is one of, if not the most popular survival games map amongst players. With this new era, we have a new host, as Ant Venom is stepping up in Machinima's wake, and with the potential field being opened up to not just Machinima creators, we have a lot of new faces, with 9 out of the 15 players being first-timers. I'm sure you recognize quite a few of these faces. We're really entering the heyday of Minecraft YouTube, and a handful of creators, and contenders, are making their debut today. Another wrinkle to this event, that will be followed by every event after it, is that we have multiple matches today. Kinda. From SG5 onward, there will be 2 rounds played, usually 1 solo and 1 team event, which will all be weighed on our scale as if they were their own events, so as to not diminish the importance of key performances. SG4 specifically is a solo event, but our second event isn't really a real round 2. It's a bit unique. Don't you worry though, we'll get to that in a little bit. Our full focus is on SG4. Back to the map. Let's take a closer look at it. Now, the map here is technically not the SG4 that we know today, but the differences from the revamped version and the version at play today are negligible, so I felt justified in still using the picture. This map was stated to have some Russian inspiration, as its buildings are grain industrial and the map features an airstrip, open fields, and other buildings that fit in quite well with the landscape. Again, small map, so our game today is quick. SG4 is among the fastest of all of our survival games events, with the total time for our event today clocking in at around 15 minutes. So, speed round, hope you guys can keep up. Battle start. Once again, we have a grace period, which takes up just under a 15th of this entire game. We're stuffing 14 kills into just under 15 minutes. 6 seconds after our grace period is over, we have blood. Slamacow kills, Captain Sparkles. 0 points for our supposed GOAT contender, who despite having put up a handful of solid games, will go home today with a fat goose egg. Were we wrong? Was Captain Sparkles a product of an earlier era with worse competition? Either way, he's out today. Next kill is, hey, who else? With no teams allowed in this game, Skidscape once again gets the best of caveman films. So much for friendship. Nick Fenton, who has gotten up to a quick start gear-wise in his inaugural games, picks up a kill onto Doc M before immediately getting traded out by Minecraft Universe. So, very quickly, which again, shouldn't be a surprise at this point because of how quick this game is going, we are down to 11. Utorak, who gets shot off a ladder by Sethbling, makes it 10. Now, chat announces that this kill isn't necessarily Seth's kill, as it just says Utorak dies to fall damage. However, I'm making the executive decision to call this a kill for Sethbling, because effectively it was in every conceivable way. So screw you, chat, this is my documentary and I make the rules. Anyway, back to the action. It's Skidscape again, chasing down Sky. Sky actually has good enough gear to make this fight interesting, which, surprisingly, he does. As Topmass watches from the trees above, Sky puts a flurry of blows into Skidscape, landing 7 shots, including a critical hit, with his wood sword before just barely getting killed. We don't have any footage of this kill from Skid's perspective, but we have to assume that Skidscape is incredibly low at this point, which is what makes Topmass's decision-making much more critical. Without a weapon, Topmass attempts to jump down to scoop up one of the swords dropped by Sky. He is unable to pick one up, but he lands a couple of punches to push Skidscape away. The two then turn tail and run in opposite directions. It is extremely likely that Skit was a breath away from death, and that if Topmass was more aggressive, fists or not, he would have ended Skit's game then and there. As close as this was, these two will meet again. Wolf kills Fods before Slamacow comes in and swoops in for that trade. 7 left. Slamacow isn't done though, as he immediately kills Minecraft Universe for his 3rd kill of the game. Ladies and gentlemen, we at the Minecraft Survival Games Scouting Department may have just found our next big thing, and Skidscape kills him. Well, Cableworst could get the trade and he doesn't. Okay, well, with Ant Venom not playing, Skidscape is cleaning up house. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, as Skid has racked up 4 thus far. And you know what? Why not make it 5? Skidscape can smell blood in the water, killing Sethbling to make it 3 remaining. At this point, I know what you're thinking. Skidscape gets 6? You know what, viewer? Sure, because you asked. How about a long bow shot onto Lucklin, making it a duel between Skitscape and Topmass? Topmass and Skit escaped each other's clutches earlier this match, but Skitscape has been on a roll since and is geared to the teeth. Topmass does have an iron sword, which evens the playing field, but Skitscape is well on his way to a 7th kill, a legendary outing, which he, of course, does not get, because Topmass ambushes him and kills Skit 1 kill short of his first Survival Games victory. Congratulations to Topmass, the first player not named Ant Venom to ever win a Minecraft Survival Games event. Maybe Ant setting out worked, too, as we had our most well-rounded match in Survival Games history, with a record 7 individual players picking up kills. Now, Topmass definitely deserves his moment for his victory, but you know what? Let's do an exhibition match. I originally wasn't going to include it, but it's not like the skill level is any different. Supposedly, the match was for fun, but it really doesn't change the outcome of any of the fights. So what I did was this. I made the game worth half points. You still get points for participating, it just doesn't have the weight of the other matches, because, well, it's an exhibition. I would have been more inclined to make this game worth full marks, but it's a really glitchy affair. 90% of the time it's legit, but this match definitely deserves an asterisk next to it. Some players are invisible to other players, which affects the results, but not enough to cause an uprising for the 15 participants. Speaking of, we have a substitution. Utoric isn't playing this game, and stepping into his place is... oh yeah. Stakes are low, but it's cool to see our champion back again. Let's play ball. Or sword or something. Anyway. The first death in our exhibition match is, ironically, Topmass. He's dead instantly, right out of the gate. Long live the king, right? Sky and Fods go down next, followed by Minecraft Universe and Nick Fenton. Cablewurst gets his second of the game on Lucklin before a glitch kills Caveman Films. Ant Venom kills Wolf, who can't see Ant because of, again, the glitch. Skitscape is then afforded a chance for revenge on Ant Venom for SG3, as he catches Ant in a moment of apparent weakness, which of course does not matter, as Ant kills Skit again. Our 6 are dropped to 4 after Cablewurst kills Sethbling, while the invisibility bug assists Ant Venom again and leads Ant to getting the kill onto Cable. In a rematch of SG1's final fight, Captain Sparkles and Ant Venom once again cross blades, and like SG1, Ant Venom wins decisively. The Ghost strikes one final time in this match as Doc M kills Slamacow, unbeknownst to Slamacow, and we are set up with the final fight in the match. Ant Venom does reset himself to make sure that the final fight is on even terms, but it doesn't matter, as Ant Venom manages to win a match that he didn't even play in. Tell me, who's the GOAT? The points may be reduced, but the statement is the same. And yeah, it's a little bit of a Mickey Mouse win, which is why it's worth half marks. But I mean, come on, you gotta like this. 5 kills, a win, and another legendary Ant Venom moment, as in his 4 matches, his average placement is 1. While this is a celebration of Topmass's achievement, it's also a mourning for Skitscape's lack thereof. In 3 matches, Skitscape finished 3rd, 2nd, and 7th, dying to the eventual champion in every circumstance. And SG4 is it for him. He won't be back. But with 10 kills in 2.5 games, he'll be up near the top of the leaderboard. Skitscape's story is never one of what was. It's what could have been. Like I mentioned earlier though, Topmass deserves his moment. His only kill was the last one, and his win may end up being overshadowed by Skitscape's performance. But he is a winner of the Minecraft Survival Games. At this point, one of 2 ever. And while SG4 was his first showing, it's also his last. Topmass walked into his only games, simultaneously came first and last, refused to elaborate, and never showed up again. Legend. Buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. We are off to Survival Games 5. Now, this event is the first of the rest of our events in the sense that it will be played on The Hive, which was a Minecraft server that specialized in the survival games and other game modes that went out of service for Java in 2021, but still remains popular on Bedrock, where it has essentially moved. The Hive was one of, if not the, most popular survival game server, but with our switch to it, we have a couple of things to cover that make it unique. First of all, chests are different, being these 6-sided piston things now. This doesn't affect gameplay at all, but it's worth noting. Now, what does affect gameplay is the fact that the Hive was hosted in Europe, which means that competitors playing from the Americas are going to experience a disadvantage, as hits that normally wouldn't connect do for their European counterparts, and hits that shouldn't don't, due to ping differences. Additionally, and I really don't know why this is the case, when players get kills in this version, only the player who dies is announced, and the cause of death is not. This means that not every kill for the rest of this documentary is going to be documented correctly. Players that don't finish well don't upload their perspective on YouTube, which is stacked with the fact that these videos are from 9 to 7 years old, meaning a lot of channels are now defunct. I assure you that none of the kills I missed had an extremely large impact on the outcome of the overall leaderboard, but for a lot of players in the middle and bottom of R62, I may be missing a kill or two towards totals. I really do wish I could say that the documentation of these games was perfect, but sadly, because of the formatting of a now dead server, it isn't. Like I said though, I was still able to find and document most kills. We once again have a 2-match series today, but like I mentioned before, both count for full marks. High stakes for all players today, of which you can see the field here. Notable newcomers include Ajax of the Jolly Brits, Bayesian Canadian and ASF Jerome, Vicstar, and hey, the creator of today's map, Variede. Speaking of, let's look at the map. Supposedly a post-apocalyptic version of New York City, SG5 is a true winter wonderland, with a lot of very large buildings and really cool builds. Notably, we see the Statue of Liberty and a crumbling bridge which I will not identify specifically to avoid getting called slurs by New Yorkers. Very cool map once again though. Like SG2, it plays a lot slower than its size would suggest, though there's a pretty even distribution of structures and open fields. What there isn't that even of, however, is crates, and therefore, players even in the final fights are going to be completely undergeared compared to what we're used to. The grace period is taken away in today's match, meaning that blood will be drawn at the first moment possible, as it was in SG1 and SG2. The center being a bit of a trap ensures that this will happen as well, as the field is culled by 4 or 5 within the first minute of both matches. The solo match is first up on our slate today, which we will get into now. As the game begins, a handful of players rush the middle, including Bayesian Canadian and ASF Jerome, a duo of Hunger Games specialists making their debut today. Both of these guys played the survival games regularly, despite not being in an event up until this point, and that experience will be shown off today. Bayesian racks up 2 of the first 3 kills, knocking Slamacow and Vicstar out of the match instantly, segmented by KYR Speedy's death. Unfortunately for the 2 of them, as killing may be their specialty, brain power might not be. Bayesian falls into a death trap, and while slowly sliding through a cobweb to his death, he throws his things to Jerome. Jerome, en route to pick those things up, walks into the trap as well. Unlike Bayesian, however, Jerome realizes that he can place a cake that he has down, which will save him from the lava. The problem is, he can no longer get out. He will spend the rest of his game in here until he is either killed or a deathmatch is sprung. And you know what? Let's put this up here so we can keep track of Jerome's game. Captain Sparkles finishes off a weakened Sly, Caveman Films falls, and so does RPMX, and there are 15 remaining. A story I want to point out at this point is that of Drifter, who is a complete newbie at both Minecraft and the survival games. He really has no idea what he's doing, but he's both playing in this event and still alive at this point. Most players know he's a complete greenie at this too, including Nooch, who was kind enough to not only not kill Drifter, but give him a weapon. Drifter then immediately finds Skyda's Minecraft and begins hunting him. So we have a massive Minecraft YouTuber here, being ran down by a guy that effectively never plays this game mode or this game. A couple more fall, and we are reduced to 10 remaining. Finally, Driftor kills Sky, which is much to the jubilee of Jerome. Sethbling and Mojang employee Mark, who found his way into today's games, are next to fall, before who other than, yes, Drifter, kills Boxer. 5 remaining. Ajax is about to kill Husky Mudkips, which will bring our total to 4 in Spring Deathmatch. So, let's do a gear checkup and see how everyone is doing going into the deathmatch. So, the obvious betting favorite is Ajax here. He will have not only full health, but the most armor out of anyone. Despite being his first games with us, he is no slouch at this, having experience in PvP and taking advantage of the Hive being EU-based. Driftwar has solid armor, but suffers from both inexperience and a health bar that is not full. Jerome as well, still in his hole. And Captain Sparkles has been suffering this entire game. He was able to kill Sly, but he's been wandering around this entire match with absolutely zero food, hopeless, dejected, and likely shy of yet another Hunger Games win. Just before Deathmatch is triggered, Captain Sparkles finds a crate full of things that I suppose moderately help him? No food and a little armor, but it's enough to make him still last in both armor and health. But hey, he's less last. Deathmatch begins, and players all spread out, starting off passively. Ajax hones in on Jerome and kills him. Ajax then decides Driftor's time is nigh, picking him off. Ajax has taken a little damage at this point, but not enough to change the obvious outcome. Captain Sparkles, mathematically, stands a little chance. 2 solid blows is all it would take. For an experienced player like Ajax, that's no problem. But the crown has evaded Captain Sparkles enough. And what needs to be a flawless victory, Captain Sparkles lands one shot after another. Odds be damned, fate is not yet written. With a final blow, your victor of the survival games is none other than Captain Sparkles. Congratulations to Jordan, who in his 5th survival games has defeated the fraud allegations. Knew you could do it, man. Been here since day one. So, we obviously have another match to cover here, right? It's our team event, with every player squatting up in teams of 2. But instead of covering how it goes traditionally, I'm going to use this match as an opportunity to highlight one specific player. Now, if you're familiar with the survival games, I'm sure you've realized that most of the participants up until this event have been mostly inexperienced, and that one truly experienced Hunger Games demon being thrown into the mix could throw a wrench in this whole Ant Venom supremacy thing, especially with him not playing today and all. I'd assume that for many, the assumption was that that injection of talent would come with the addition of Bayesian Canadian. Bayesian Canadian, or Mitch, was arguably the face of the Minecraft Hunger Games on the content side. Over his many years of YouTube, he produced a total 709 episodes of the Hunger Games and an animated music video where he would rack up countless wins, with many watching, myself included. He was even nice enough to give me a cameo back in episode 244. Anyway, I'm sure many of you out there had his name immediately pop into your head as a potential contender of these games. After getting 2 very quick kills before bowing out with a 19th place finish in his first match, he looked to have a very solid road ahead of him to the top of the leaderboard. Unfortunately though, dear viewer, Bayesian's story in the official survival games is one of the most underwhelming. I'm going to do a smidge of spoiling, but bear with me here. Here, we have a graph of every single point performance in the Minecraft survival games, from 1 through Breeze Island. Every dot represents an individual performance. You can make out Ant Venom's first couple games, Skitscape's SG4 performance, and the many more to come. Here are Bayesian's performances. Here's his 19th place finish in SG5, which is made to look just okay due to his pair of kills. Another finish in SG6's second round, a bottom of the pack game on Breeze Island, and shockingly, 2 last place finishes. Not only was Bayesian not spectacular, he was bad. His average points over these 5 games was 11.324, which is good for 57th place. In the total points department, despite playing in many more games than most of the people below him, he clocks in at 42nd. The only thing is, dear viewer, that he did not play 5 matches. He played 6, including our team match today, which I seem to have forgotten to include. My bad, of course. Let's just add that performance really quick. By our point system, Bayesian Canadian will have the second best performance in the survival game's history. However, by the eye test, it's the best by far. Ant Venom's 164.29 point game in SG2 was impressive, but those kills hold nearly double the weight of today's, and a small handful of them were due to glitches and bugs. In a much bigger lobby, Bayesian is going to rack up 163.04 points, including a survival games record 13 kills. This is not going to be matched, ever. No one will come close. And remember how I said that Bayesian would finish 42nd and 57th in our leaderboard categories? Despite the rest of his performances, this singular game elevates him to 6th and 14th. As the game begins, Bayesian and his teammate Jerome jump into the center of the map, where Bayesian picks out a stone axe, which he uses to promptly murder Sethblade. Miraculously, Sundy has managed to secure a diamond sword, an item that doesn't spawn in the Hive's chests, but was acquired due to Sundy crafting it from 2 diamonds, being extremely rare and hard to find individually. The odds of Sundy finding the materials to make such a sword and quickly making it so early into the game are crazy, and Bayesian immediately takes advantage of Sundy's find and kills him. Barely. Kermit Plays damn near kills Bayesian with fists at this point, leaving him with 1.5 hearts left, but Bayesian escapes, immediately coming across Boxer, who Bayesian kills with a single blow. Next to go is Variede, who cannot take advantage of his own map's design, and falls. Again, easily. Now at this point, Bayesian and Jerome come into contact with both Minecraft Universe and Sky, who are in a cave. Bayesian is able to run down Trumu, but Jerome gets overconfident in his own fighting skills, running into his own death at the hands of Sky's Minecraft, leaving Bayesian alone before Bayesian is able to wipe Sky as well. This is still a team event, mind you, and Bayesian is suddenly without his, but it doesn't matter. KYR is next, and Bayesian happens upon an enchantment table where he makes Sundy's his diamond sword, Sharpness 1. Aviator Gaming is next. No further comments about this one, this game is a slaughter. The next team to try Bayesian is Mark and Slyfox, who take the interesting approach of fighting him one at a time. It, unsurprisingly, doesn't work, as Bayesian tears them limb from limb. Deathmatch is upon us. Bayesian has 10 kills already. There are 3 in this deathmatch. Do the math. Knowing that everyone spawns on top of each other, all right next to lava, Bayesian goes into deathmatch, swinging and jumping, registering critical hits onto multiple players just milliseconds in. It kills Caveman Films instantly, launching him into the lava. Now, Nucci and Captain Sparkles, who is silently looking for a repeat today, do a pseudo team-up and actually get Mitch on the ropes here for a little bit. But at the end of the day, Bayesian finishes them both off and gets his win. 163.03 points, 13 kills. Glory, fame, and legend status by his name. We're closing in on the final event, but fortunately for those that are still trying to make an impact on the overall board, we have a couple of matches to go yet. Despite getting a late start, winning the average score section is still completely within reach for even the newest players, as 2 of the top 5 in that category still haven't even played a match to this point. Hell, for the right players, the total point crown might still be in reach. Now who do we got playing today? Well, look who's back. On top of Ant Venom's grand return, SG6 also serves as the debut event for many players, including MC Finest Max and Jordan, Deadlocks, I Am the Attack, and more. Here is the map. Definitely some medieval vibes here, with a walled-in city being laid siege to by pirates. The city takes up the majority of the map, but the surrounding areas are where most people spend the game. Now again, we have 2 rounds today. Technically, like before, we have a solo and a team event. However, neither really play out as one or the other, as massive truces through round 1 make it feel like a team match, and within our supposed teams in the second game, we have at least one instance of a team kill, that I do obviously still count as a kill, before deathmatch. So I'm referring to SG6's matches as just round 1 and 2. Let's get into it, baby. As the game begins, we have a handful of players die pretty quickly. The very first fight of the game is that of MC Finest Max and Bayesian Canadian, who get into a fist fight that Caveman Films quickly resolves by killing Bayesian before turning on Max, who he actually does not kill, letting Max get away. It's crazy to say, but that interaction is going to prove to have the biggest ramifications of any fight in this game up until the last. So keep an eye on those 2. Chilled Chaos, Jerome, and Boxer go down, as does David Brown TV, as Caveman Films picks up his second kill of the game on Sunday. Man, In his limited appearances thus far, Sundy has done a lot of dying. Anywho, Nooch and Sky go down next before Caveman Films gets his third of the game onto Deadlocks. Ajax kills Sato before Jordan trades him out, which brings us to 10 left. Just a minute later, a brawl on the beach takes place, with Jordan killing Cupquake, Minecraft Universe, and Kermit Plays, bringing us to 6 left. Still remaining are both of the MC Finest crew, Variede, I'm the Attack, Caveman Films, and yes, Ant Venom. Though he's still alive at this point, Caveman Films and MC Finest Jordan have definitely taken up the spotlight in today's match. Surely he can't do this again. Can he? We're about to get an answer. Preceded by Variede's death, Jordan and Ant Venom meet around the cornucopia, a prime opportunity for Ant to send a message to the rest of the players in this game. Unfortunately, for the first time in the history of the Minecraft survival games, Ant Venom is killed. Jordan collects the kill, his 5th of the match. Deathmatch is sprung. In their first survival games, the MC Finest crew are both in the final deathmatch. Or at least, you'd think they are. I Am the Attack has other plans, killing a weakened Jordan while the deathmatch countdown ticks. Our deathmatch will be short-staffed, featuring only 3. Max, Caveman Films, and I Am the Attack. Is this the ushering in of a new era for the survival games as we know them? Our deathmatch begins with Max immediately flinging I Am the Attack into the lava below, which leaves us with a duel between Max and Caveman Films. Remember that fight at the beginning? The one that resulted in Bayesian dying instantly? The one that left Max on 1 heart and clinging to his life? We're treated to a rematch of it. Crazy to think about how this game would have gone if Caveman was able to get that 1 extra blow to finish Max off. Instead, we have a fight. The best one in the history of the survival games. The 2 trade blows, with Caveman connecting for a little more initial damage before Max drops a TNT, which explodes right in Caveman's face, leaving him at just over half health. Max then blunders, however, as he pulls out his bow to try to shoot Caveman, but as Caveman turns around to continue sparring with Max, Max's bow remains out. Before Max can pull his axe back out, he's reduced to a single heart. Max is, however, able to keep Caveman Films at a distance, where he once again pulls out his bow and lands a flurry of shots, while Caveman Films does the same. But the one who lands the deciding shot is Caveman Films. The old guard stands strong, and Caveman Films is the king of Survival Game 6, with a mere half heart to his name. The MC Finest crew had an impressive showing, with Jordan notching a match-high 90.1 points. With 3 matches remaining, if he can keep pace with this game, he should contend with Ant Venom, of which he was the first person to ever successfully kill. Let's see how he does in our team match now. Last place. Unlucky, but we won't let that hold us back. It's our team event now, or at least it technically is, but again, it really doesn't play out that way. Some teams play together and some really don't. Team size is inconsistent, leaving some players in teams of 2, some in teams of 3, and even a team of 4 or 2. The start of this game is pretty insignificant, with a handful of individual players such as David Brown, Cupquake, and Variede all dying. However, our first wrench of the game comes when Ant Venom dies from a source unknown. Our 3.5-time champ is out of the game with a 16th place finish. Max is next up, who asks for a fight before getting killed milliseconds later, before Sky swoops in and trades him out. Next is I Am the Attack. At this point, Ajax and Boxer, who are teamed up, have a run-in with the bigger squad of Sky, Sundy, and Bayesian Canadian. Ajax is forced to flee, while Boxer proceeds to attempt a drive-by on Bayesian, who becomes severely weakened before Sundy accidentally finishes him off. Oops. Boxer also gets away. Double oops. Not the best sequence for Sundy and Sky. Ajax and Boxer soon reappear, though, as they chase down Kermit and kill him right in front of Sky and Sundy, which reignites their fight. Ajax and Boxer become split, and as Boxer pins himself between Sundy, a dead end, and an oncoming XRPMX, he simply has no choice but to die at Sky's hand. Unfortunately, Sky and Sundy's run looks to come to an end, as the remains of what was Ant Venom's team all mob the squad. As Sky is getting chased down, Sundy is able to whittle down and kill XRPMX, and then Chilled Chaos. So maybe the run isn't over, though Sky is still getting mobbed by defending champ Caveman Films. And Ajax is back for revenge. Sunday attempts to intercept some attention and gets into a fight with Ajax with only 4 hearts left. Sound familiar? Well, Ajax once again loses, which bumps Sunday's kill total up to 4, with 3 consecutive kills in this game going to Sunday. That tally moves to 5 total and 4 in a row as Caveman Films goes down, as Sunday and Sky were able to double team him. 5 left. I hope you guys are comfy, because as straightforward as this game may now seem, with just Nooch and 2 teams left remaining, we're only around halfway done with these games. Reason? Stalemate. Here is where everyone is, and where everyone will spend the rest of this game until deathmatch. It is one massive game of chicken. We are treated to 12 minutes of every player basically just standing around, which features Sky going to pee and standing still, knowing Minecraft Universe and Sato won't attack him. Eventually, admins force deathmatch to get the game over with, realizing that the final kill won't come. So, very rare occurrence, we are going to have a 5-person deathmatch. Right? Our stalemate comes to an end mere seconds before deathmatch, as Nooch sneaks his way onto the boat and does some damage, which Sunday and Sky take advantage of. Now, nobody dies, but everyone sans Sunday and Sky has taken some damage at this point, which is crucial. Universe get into a fight, and Sato gets pinched between Sky and Sunday for Sunday's 6th kill of the game. Nooch walks too close to the edge, and Sky knocks him out of bounds, leaving just Trumu, Sky, and Sunday. Trumu throws in the towel, as Sunday collects his 7th, and we are left with just 2. So, this team is won, but we still need an official winner. Sky and Sunday must brawl. To make the fight even, the 2 strip naked and go at each other. Pause. Okay, resume. For the first time in the match, Sunday is rendered hopeless, as Sky proves he's the better fist user. Probably true in real life too, unfortunately. Anyway, Sky wins SG6's team game, finishing with 4 kills. Sunday's game was definitely more impressive though, notching a 7-kill game, the 3rd highest in all of the survival games. And just like our first placeholder, if not for this one game, Sunday would have finished the survival games with a final placement of 55th and 61st. Though it only pushes his average score to a still unimpressive 38th, his total score ends up in the top 10. It is crazy how much one good match can do for your overall score, as we move on to our final matches. It's been a ride, hasn't it? Breeze Island is upon us, our final event and one last gasp for many contenders to really make their mark on the survival games as we know them. If anyone wants to go down in history and join our 6 past champions in the Ring of Honor, they're going to have to want it. With a 23-player field, over half of our players are fresh. In no particular order, Dartron, Bill Warlow, Cricken, Noah Craft, Perpetual Jordan, Dr. PlayStation, TBNR Frags, Basher, KK Comics, Log.Zip, SGC Barbarian, and Camping Rusher will all play in their both first and last games. And if any of you think that we're too far in for any of these folks to make an impact, 2 of those names that I just mentioned are going to be in the top 4 for average scores. And one of them is going to do it without finishing in the top 6 in either game. Before we get into the match, it's best to take a peek at the map to try to understand how and why things play out the way that they do. Breeze Island is, unsurprisingly, an island, surrounded by water and ultimately pretty small. Time of play is pretty similar to SG6, with the solo match being around 12 minutes and once again the team one being around double that. Lots of water fights today, which, again, shouldn't really come as a surprise. But that's enough of that. Let's get into our final matches. Our games begin, but despite the amount of players and the lack of the grace period, no one really dies all that fast. Our first death is Sunday, who, fresh off of his 7-kill game, is slain at the hands of Noah Craft. Now, every survival games for the past few, we've had a PvP or Hunger Games hotshot that joins the fray, gets a handful of kills in their first outing, and then severely underperforms for the rest, bombing out of the games with a mediocre place in the standings. In SG5 it was Bayesian Canadian, in SG6 it was MC Finest Jordan. There are a handful of established players that are playing for the first time today, but the hottest name is going to prove to be Noah's. Before we get back to Noah's performance, a minor interjection here to point out that Ant Venom dies, and all of a sudden, what we thought was a foregone conclusion no longer is. Ant Venom was, entering SG6, in complete dominant control of both categories of the survival games. All of a sudden, he finds himself in an astonishing 2nd place in the average category. This isn't me taking away from his accomplishment, but it is me making it more dramatic. Our new leader is Skitscape, and Ant Venom would need an astonishing final game to retake that lead. Skitscape, of course, hasn't played since SG4, never won a game, and is suddenly the man to beat. Noah's second kill is on Perpetual Jordan, who he manages to get a jump on and kill, although barely. Bayesian Canadian and TB&R frags go down next, before Noah picks up a quick third, this time onto MC Finest Max. Now, while it hasn't necessarily been a complaint up until this point, the servers being in Europe are being universally noticed today, and will be noticeable when you look upon the leaderboard. A mere 5 of our players today are from Europe, being Dartron, Perpetual Jordan, Ajax, Boxer, and Bill Warlow. The last 3 of those specifically are all Hive server staff or higher ups, which is certainly notable looking back on this game knowing the final results. Keep my comments in mind here, and watch as this slobberknocker plays out. Noah's 4th kill comes when he assassinates Sky from behind, which leaves us with 11 players left, keeping his insane pace in today's game going. His 5th is just moments later, which is onto fellow newcomer log.zip, making the player count 8. Man is unstoppable today. Alright, who's next up on the chopping block? Oh, Ajax. Noah makes it Noah dies. Now, I would hardly call this a disappointment, as despite dying with an 8th place finish, Noah's performance today will be the highest of anyone in the lobby point-wise. The performance that this requires is insane, and the fact that Noah was able to rack up 5 kills as quick as he did is a testament to that. If you look at every other survival games event, the worst placement out of any top scorer was Jordan's 4th place finish in SG6-1, with most top scorers coming in 1st or 2nd. Noah's score, considering his finish, is unprecedented, topping the leaderboard with an 8th place finish. Back into our game, Kricken kills Husky Mudkips to bring us to 6 left, which is her 2nd of the game in her inaugural games. Feeling herself, she charges ASF Jerome, who has her outgeared and promptly kills her. At this point, nobody but the Lord above knows who's in the driver's seat for this match. It switched hands like 5 times. ASF Jerome, searching for his first win, manages to kill Bill Warlow, making it 4 and triggering deathmatch. So, is Jerome the one to beat then? Or is it Chimney Swift, who is back in his first game since SG2? Or is it a Brit? For the first time maybe ever, we really don't have any blowouts among the fights in deathmatch. Chimney and Boxer get into a fight, and Boxer comes maybe a half block away from being thrown into the lava before coming back and knocking off Chimney Swift. Now, Ajax has been in situations like these before. He has a 2nd place finish under his belt and is extremely close to his first win today. The games are in his realm, and he's one of the best Hunger Gamesers in the business, but still does not have a win to show for it. If anybody, why not him this match? I'll show you why. Ajax has a win condition: whittle Jerome down and keep Boxer at a distance. If Boxer kills Jerome, that's fine. All Ajax has to do is play his game, not get aggressive, and he should be the favorite here. Let the other 2 initiate the fight, they're nearby each other. You would then have the prime opportunity to clean up what's left. But Ajax rushes Jerome. He completely ignores Boxer. Naturally, with both players having their back turned to him, Boxer is able to deal immense damage to Ajax. And although Ajax is able to run Jerome down and kill him, Boxer immediately cleans up and finishes Ajax off. It really makes you think, what was Ajax cooking? He completely tunnel visioned it on Jerome, leaving Boxer to take home the win for free. And regardless of what may have been the strategy, your winner is Boxer, his first and only. In another 2nd place finish for Ajax, who will go in today's final game a champion of none, with remaining only 1. Before we enter this final game, we have some storylines to take a peek at. Ant Venom remains atop the total points leaderboard and within striking distance of the average crown. Other players within striking distance of the average crown include Noah Craft and Bill Warlow, as it being their 2nd match would drastically tilt the leaderboard in their favor. And although Ajax isn't really in contention for either crown, he is in contention for the SG6 team crown, a performance that would, in theory, boost him to second in total points behind only Ant Venom. For other players, it's about pride. We've seen firsthand that one magic performance can do numbers for players' overall scores, so it's time to make some magic happen. Remember our 2 Hunger Games hotshots that performed and then didn't? They're the first 2 to die in our final games. Honestly, almost poetic. Sunday kills Jordan, and MC Finest Max kills him before Noah runs him down. So if we want to talk about being wide open, this game has been cracked wide open. As the game continues, we see teammate of Ant Venom and Log.zip, TB and our frags, die, which reduces that crucial team to just 2 very early. Now would probably be as good of a time as any to mention the fact that teams today are teams of 3. In past events, team amounts were inconsistent, which gave certain teams advantages, but not today. Everyone is even Steven. Back to the action. Noah's team meets Ajax in the middle, and Noah does some serious damage, but Ajax somehow manages to escape. The exact same thing happens with Noah and Bill Warlow. Our contenders keep meeting, but somehow, in some way, they all remain alive. Is this what fate feels like? Noah and Chimney Swift are able to wipe out Cricken and Basher, securing a kill each, and there are but 10 players left. Noah and Chimney then have a run-in with who other than Ajax and Bill Warlow, who are able to kill Chimney and whittle Noah down to a mere half of a heart. Once again, there are 8 remaining. And with 7 kills and 2 games to his name, Noah is knocked out by Ant Venom. 7 remaining. Remaining, we have 3 teams. Ant Venom and Log.zip, Bill Warlow and Ajax, and Dr. PlayStation, KK Comics, and Dartron. Because the match has gone on for as long as it has, the chests have refilled, which gave Bill a diamond sword, a massive advantage, no doubt. As Ant Venom and Log.zip chase him and Ajax down, Bill is able to separate Log.zip from the action and kill him with little resistance. Although Ant Venom has Ajax on the ropes, Ajax, at this point, has gotten astonishingly good at running away, which he does again, effectively. Half of the remaining game is one team, but all 3 of them are severely undergeared. It is really unfortunate, but all 3 have spent the entire game circling the outskirts of the map only to get scraps, before they eventually lose Dr. PlayStation to fall damage. Because of the length of this game, at this point, we are treated to another 5-player deathmatch. And among the participants, Ajax, Bill Warlow, and Ant Venom. Immediately into the deathmatch, Dartron and KK Comics are put away. And in our final games, your final 3 players are the 3 we've been talking about this whole game. Because, why wouldn't they be? Now, Ajax and Bill do attempt to negotiate with Ant to make the final fight fair, but Ant misunderstands and doesn't take it. He realizes his blunder and tries to reverse this decision, but while he's typing, he's knocked into the lava by Bill. It is Bill and Ajax remaining. And even if it might be dirty, a win wasn't going to escape Ajax twice, as he bludgeons Bill down immediately after Ant Venom has been killed. So in our final match, we see the scoreboard. A single kill by Ajax, who is victorious in the final bout of the Minecraft survival games. A performance that puts him solidly in second in the overall leaderboard. Bill and Noah took advantage of the spotlight, however, finishing 3rd and 4th in the average leaderboard. Down to the final game, we were provided with non-stop entertainment and now have locked in a de facto Minecraft survival games hierarchy. With the leaderboard now before us, let's take a look at who the true GOAT of the Minecraft survival games is. It's pretty undisputable, folks. The GOAT of the Minecraft survival games is Ant Venom. Did you guess it? The winner of our first games ended up being the best overall. There were plenty of faces, but none stronger than the first. In the total points department, there was an absolute canyon between him and second place. And before anyone says, well, if Ajax played as many games as Ant Venom, then maybe it would be closer. A, that's what the average category is for, dingus, and B, Ajax would have needed upwards of 100 points per game to do that. Ajax, Caveman Films, Captain Sparkles, and Skitscape round out the top 5 in the total department, whereas Skit leads in the average department, followed by Ant Venom, Bill Warlow, NoahCraft FTW, and Ajax. I think it's pretty clear that the survival games hierarchy goes as follows. Ant Venom, Skidscape, and Jolly Ajax. The elite of the elite, survival games royalty. If you've been following anyone specific throughout this video, here's the entire list, just for you. With that, we have successfully set out and completed what we said we would do. Not only have we precisely determined all 62 rankings, but more importantly, we've also documented these results. As time has gone on, a lot of these videos and channels have disappeared. Plenty of games and certain perspectives simply do not exist, primarily because the channels don't. XRPMX13, I Am the Attack, Bill Warlow, Deadlocks, and that's just to name a few, have either started anew in deleted videos or have been hacked. Their perspectives are gone, never to be seen again. The jolly old Brits of Ajax, Bill Warlow, and Boxer all either long ago deleted their perspectives or simply never uploaded them, which is also the case for many. With this video, we will forever have the results of these games, and how they all went down in depth, which is a statement that really would have been up in the air before this. The Team Variety survival games events are now, and forever, etched into the lore of not only Minecraft, but Minecraft as it existed and as it continues to exist on YouTube. So, was that all that the point of this video was? Well, it was a big part of it, sure, but the motivations were far more than that. An in-depth documentary on a part of YouTube that me and countless others held dear in the survival games was something that I had wished had existed for years. And as it did not yet, I took it upon myself. Telling the story of the Minecraft survival games has been one of the more fun projects I have ever taken on, and I can only hope this video reaches all 62 of the participants in one way or another, so that they can see how much they had an impact on mine and many others' lives, and hopefully get a bit of enjoyment out of hearing their name called at some point in this video. In general, the Minecraft survival games were a massive part of my life growing up. I remember pouring countless hours into playing this specific game mode, meeting friends that I still have to this day, and bonding over this one very specific game mode. Without it, I really wouldn't be what I am today. And all 62 of these people had a very important part of that. And that's really no matter how small that part may seem. Unfortunately, though, the survival games as we know them simply never will reach the popularity that they once had again. You really can't expect to ever join a game and have it be full, a phenomena that would have been unheard of in the Hive or MCSG's heyday. And before I say this, I know in the modern era, the survival games have kind of continued to exist through the Minecraft Championships and through some of the Dream SMP folks with occasional events, but damn it, let's bring the survival games back. And you know what? I'm mobilizing all 57 of my subscribers on this. I want them back. I simply wish to play the survival games again in a full, real lobby on a Variety map. Is that too much to ask? It is? Rats. Regardless, I would give a lot to experience the Minecraft survival games the way I did when I was but a kid. And that goes for not only playing it, but watching it. Why not have another YouTuber event? For old time's sake? It'd be so much fun to see that go down. Let's, as a community, bring back the survival games. And even if we don't do so, and if it's just in our memory, the survival games will always live on. Hey guys, just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. It means a lot to me. Obviously, I don't really have many things in the subscribers department, and this entire video was basically done for free, as you can tell. No sponsors, no anything like that. This was not paid for. I did this for fun. And that's not a complaint or anything like that. But, you know, anything is really appreciated, and I obviously don't want my hard work to go to waste. So, you know, liking, sharing this video especially, and just trying to really make the outreach of this video as much as it possibly can be would mean the absolute world to me. And like I said, you know, again, completely out of my pocket, I completely get it. But if any of you guys want to support me, because again, this video is not sponsored or anything of that matter, my Venmo is at Galaxy. And feel free to hit me up. Again, you don't have to. It's just, you know, it would help. And if you guys like this and this gets popular enough, I would be totally down to do stuff like this again in the future. Again, this video was a ton of fun to make. And I can only hope that A, it reaches the 62 people that are on the leaderboard, and B, that it reaches beyond that. So, if you guys like content like this, man, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. I would totally be down. But again, thank you so much for watching. Like it, comment, share that baby. And you know what? I'll see you guys next time. Also, look, kitty. I know!